Good evening, everyone. This is the regular Tuesday night AA group of Alcoholics Anonymous. 8:30 meeting, okay. I want to welcome all of you, especially the new man or woman. You are the most important person in the room tonight. Yeah. Okay, the preamble. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is the desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy. Neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and to help others to recover from alcoholism. Now, before I forget, we have pamphlets back there free for the taking. The books are group cost. See Amanda for payment. Okay, I've asked a good friend to read how it works.
Jason Birch, alcoholic. How it works. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. There are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner in living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those, too, who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Our stories disclose in a general way what it used to be like, what happened, and what we are like now. If you have decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps. At some of these we balked. We thought we could find an easier, softer way, but we could not. With all earnestness at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us have tried to hold on to our old ideas, and the result was nil until we let go absolutely. Remember, we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, and powerful. Without help, it is too much for us, but there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Half measures have availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery. 1. We admitted it. We were powerless over alcohol, and our lives had become unmanageable. 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to other human beings the exact nature of our wrongs. 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7. Humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9. Made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10. Continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. 12. Having a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Many of us exclaimed, "What an order! I cannot go through with it." Do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We are not saints. The point is that we are willing to grow along spiritual lines. The principles we have set down are guides to progress. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. Our description of the alcoholic, the chapter 2, agnostic, and our personal adventures before and after make clear 3 pertinent ideas. A, that we are alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. B, that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. C, that God could and would if he were sought.
Thank you. And I've asked Jim to come out and read the tradition.
Hi everybody, I'm Jim. I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Jim.
The 12 traditions. Our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon AA unity. 2. For our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. 3. The only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. 4. Each group should be autonomous except in matters affecting other groups or AA as a whole. 5. Each group has but one primary purpose, to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. 6. An AA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the AA name to any related facility or outside enterprise, lest problems of money, property, and prestige divert us from our primary purpose. 7. Every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. 8. Alcoholics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. 9. AA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. 10. Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues. Hence, the AA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. 11. Our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. And 12. Anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities.
Thank you, Jim. And I've asked Melissa to read from it.
I was making you sweat it.
Well, I'm embarrassed.
I'm Melissa, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Melissa.
And these are the 11 promises. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them.
Thank you, Melissa. And I've asked Steve to come up and read the 24-hour day. This is the 6th.
Hello, I'm Stephen. I'm an alcoholic. April 6th, the thought for the day. All alcoholics have personality problems. Ain't that the truth? They drink to escape from life, to counteract feelings of loneliness or inferiority, or because of some emotional conflict within them, so that they cannot adjust themselves to life. Alcoholics cannot stop drinking unless they find a way to solve their personality problems. That's why going on the wagon doesn't solve anything. That's why taking the pledge usually doesn't work. Was my personality problem ever solved by going on the wagon or taking the pledge? Meditation for the day. God irradiates your life with the warmth of His Spirit. You must open up like a flower to this divine irradiation. Loosen your hold on earth, its cares, and its worries. Unclasp your hold on material things. Relax your grip, and the tide of peace and serenity will flow in. Relinquish every material thing and receive it back again from God. Do not hold on to earth's treasure so firmly that your hands are too occupied to clasp God's hands as He holds them out to you in love. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may be open to receive God's blessing. I pray that I may be willing to relinquish my hold on material things and receive them back from God.
Thank you, Steve. anything else supposed to read? All right, these are the announcements. A, District 22 is hosting their annual spring events Saturday, May 31st at Founders Park in Piqua. Fellowship at 11. Leads at 12. It's Deb P. from Columbus, Ohio. Yeah, she has 27 years sobriety. 1 o'clock lunch is provided by District 21. Sloppy Joe's, baked beans, salad, and stuff. Lead at 2, Grumpy Tea, Farmersburg, Indiana, 25 years sobriety. This is an open event. Bring your sponsor. 35th, Eaton Tuesday night group. It's their 35th anniversary. May 27th, time at 6, dinner's at 6:30, speaker at 8. Please bring a covered dish, meat, drinks, and table service provided. Time to move outside. When? April, this is old, but it's Hollow Park between Cracker Barrel and Speedway in Piqua. The Sunday morning breakfast group. And Spirituality, A Journey of Love, Saturday, May 10th. There's 4 speakers. There are, back there are more of these. Take one if you want it. Remember, it's a Spirituality, A Journey of Love. And the speaker I've chosen tonight was, he was my first sponsor, or second sponsor. Gary T sponsored me, but he didn't have exactly what I wanted, and I got another one. So I had dual sponsors. And he's always been there. Stayed sober the whole time. And I don't know what to say. I'll let him tell you. Scooter?
Hey, you gonna pass tokens? You don't pass tokens?
Oh, I asked if anything I was forgetting. Is there anybody, how you want to pass out tokens?
Well, I offered to pass out tokens.
I know you did, but I didn't know I was going to forget.
Bye-bye, Holly. This group passes out tokens to celebrate sobriety, not to embarrass anybody. The first token available is 24-hour or coming back from a escapade. 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, 6 months, year, or 9 months.
All right.
All right. A year, any multiples of years thereafter. Well, if you haven't had a drink today, give yourself and God a good hand.
Oh, Scooter.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Hi, Scooter. How you doing? Tom's recording this, so I don't have to give leads no more. But I got my box bag of props I brought with me. As I was telling Tom down there, I got a bag of props I like to bring with me. And this is it, my big book. That's all I got. But I'm Scooter, alcoholic addict. I got this big book in '79. I had to go through Green Hall down in Xenia. And grab a seat, man. Make yourself at home. Got coffee back here in the back. Probably didn't expect to see me here, did you?
No, I knew you were going to be here today.
Oh, okay. But, and I've never lost the big book. I've always kept it, and I've read it. And every time I give a lead, I bring it along, and I keep all my stuff in it. So it's all in one place. Some of you I recognize, and some of you I don't recognize. But My sobriety date, I got to think here a little bit. December 1st, 1983 is when I sobered up. Finally got honest with Scooter. I tried this program in '79. As I said, I was in treatment. And it took 3 years, about 3 or 4 years, to finally get honest with me. And after reading a little bit of the big book and listening to the old timers in the room, I thought I could show off the old timers and go out and do a little research. So I did about 3 or 4 years of intense research of trying to control my drinking and using drugs. Needless to say that it just progressively got worse. I could never just drink one beer, it seemed like. Once I took that first drink, it set off that compulsion. There was one time I do remember to this day that I did manage to drink one beer. That was at the bowling alley in Greenville. I'm from Greenville, Ohio. And I got off work that night, and I was pretty much determined that I was going to drink one beer. And I walked in the bowling alley and got my one beer and proceeded to drink my one beer. And I walked out of that bar only drinking one beer. But I tell you, I was a miserable son of a bitch when I walked out that door. I wanted another one. And I wanted to turn right back around and go back in there and drink more. But I toughed it out and went home and went to bed. It was pretty depressing. But anyhow, I want to thank the individuals that have kept this meeting going. The first time I come to this meeting here was around '79. So that's how long it's been since I've been back here. This is one of my first meetings. Except it wasn't in this room. It was somewhere else up in here. And I can remember sitting in the room on a Tuesday night in Sidney. And this had been over 30 years ago. And there was a gentleman that come up to me. His name was Frank. And I was sitting there all by myself at the table. He come up and tapped me on the shoulder. And I looked up at the man, and he introduced himself, I think Frank B. And he goes, you ever feel like you've been abused, kicked around, stepped upon? And I looked at him, and I could relate to that. I said, yeah. He goes, well, I happen to know a guy that felt like that too. And he said his name was Jesus Christ. And he had this little cross, And that's what I take away from this meeting up here in Sidney is that man there. I've never forgot that. Some of you know who he is, maybe. But I'll never forget it. And I might have came back to that meeting maybe once or twice, but I was still, back then meetings were kind of far and in between, and they didn't have them like they have today. But after a while, I got to know a few people up in here, Hugh and John and some of them guys there. But from different workshops. But I'll tell you a little bit about what happened. I got out of high school, went to work in a factory, union shop, and I was 18 years old, and we did a lot of partying out there. And then it got to the point where I forgot to tell you I was a certified hippie too. Back in that day, I had the bandana and the roach clip hanging from my belt, and hung out in city parks and did all that too. So I wasn't in war or anything, but I was the other end of it with the love and peace and happiness and groovy and psychedelics and all that. But at work, I was 18 years old, young, and was going into work stoned all the time, partying on second shift and third shift, and that's where I got in trouble. That's where I had to go. The union wanted me to go to the Green Hall thing. Do that or get fired. So it was a choice there. And I went to Green Hall and didn't really get a whole lot out. I did get a big book. They gave me a big book. And I got a bunch of signatures in there. And I thought that was my shield to continue drinking. I kept that in the front seat of my car, underneath the seat, for when I got pulled over by the cops, to let them know that I was a certified alcoholic too. And I was on my way to a meeting. And and then I would take my tokens, and I'd get tokens in the meeting, and I'd take them down to the local bar and try to cash them in for another drink. Now, that's how sick I was, That's how much of a joke I thought it was. And of course, the bar would not take my 30-day token or 24-hour token. And then I'd go stumbling out the door. I'd try to cash them in from drinks. But I carried that around underneath the front seat. And then I got a fourth DUI, and some old timers back then. It was Bob M and Bob S and Gene and Y and Ralph, and them guys would be at the meeting, and they would try to help me out. But I'll share a little quick story about this spiritual thing, or God, or higher power, or whatever you choose to call it. But I was brought up in that environment. There was no alcohol in my house. My folks did not drink when I was being raised, and there was no alcohol. Dad had youth groups over to the house. Dad was an active Sunday school teacher, but he liked smoking his cigarettes. And so he was pretty active in the church, and we could not drink at the house. And there was none of the family parties were any alcohol at all, so I wasn't brought up around it. And I thought, well, how can I have this disease of alcoholism if it's not even in the family? But I'll tell you a little bit about that later on. But anyhow, this higher power thing, one time I being that I was a certified hippie, I hitchhiked to Washington, D.C. Back then, they used to have a marijuana normal smoke-in at downtown D.C. And once a year, and I thought, well, I'm going to hitchhike down there and just support the legalization of all this, and so I did that. My buddy dropped me off on 70 with a backpack, and off I went. And I was hitchhiking, and some girl picked me up and took me down to West Virginia. From West Virginia, some other guy and his girlfriend from Colorado. I think they drove straight through snorting coke. But they threw me in the back, and we darn near got killed by a semi. And but I finally got down there, and anyhow, I was partying and had me a fifth of whiskey that I kept in my backpack. And I was down there partying, having a good old time, and 4th of July, and down there in D.C. on 4th of July, there's a lot of good fireworks, and I stayed down there and for the fireworks. And then, of course, towards the end of the firework thing, I was pretty drunk, and I didn't know where I was going. I was lost in downtown D.C., and that's not a good place to be, especially if you're white. And I'm stumbling all around down the street, and all of a sudden, this cab pulls over. And he flung the back door open. He said, "Get in." And I said, "What? Get in?" And so I fell in the back seat and passed out. And I remember waking up a little bit, and we're still driving. And next thing I know, he's going, "Get out." And I said, "What?" He said, "Get out." And so I got out, and when I threw my backpack out, my fifth of whiskey shattered everywhere. It broke. And he said, "Just keep walking. Right there's the entrance ramp to the loop around D.C." And so he didn't charge me a penny, didn't charge me nothing, just watching over me. This higher power thing watching over me, And I really didn't realize that until I read that poem of Footprints in the Sand. It kind of reminded me of my life. And he said, "Get out and start walking. And there's the loop, and you can hitch a ride out of this place." And I wasn't on that highway more than a couple minutes, and a semi driver pulled over. And he started yelling at me, "Come on, come on, come on." So I run up there, and I hop in the front seat, and he goes, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to around Dayton, Ohio." He goes, "Well, I just happen to be going to Indianapolis. And I'm taking a load of grain over to Indianapolis." I said, "That's just crazy, And I'm sitting there, and he pops the old cassette in. And next thing I know, here comes all this gospel music. And I'm all hung over from the night before. And He's a born-again Christian truck driver. And I couldn't turn the ride down. And so I get to listening to this gospel music and him talking to me, and we stopped for lunch in a truck stop. But them are just some little things that seemed to happen in my life when I was out there. It just seemed, and I really didn't realize that until I actually got sober, that maybe this higher power is trying to put some kind of road signs in front of me, some kind of indication that maybe the way I'm living is not too good, and maybe I ought to take it this other way of looking to live. And today, I wake up, and I realize there's two things. There's the devil and there's God, And every day I wake up with that choice, So for the past 30 years, I've been trying to live by God's, my higher power, way of life. And so far, it's been pretty good. Life has its ups and downs. But I haven't found a reason to take a drink today. And so when I finally got honest, I went back to AA, and I got a sponsor. This is 82. I got a sponsor, and I started going to meetings, trying to get a little bit more interested in it. And I got a sponsor. They said get one, and bought some literature and books, 24-hour books, stuff like that. And there used to be a little hamburger shop in Greenville that the guy that owned the hamburger shop was in the program. So a lot of the AA people used to go there and hang out, drink coffee, and meet each other after the meetings or during the day. But I started to hang out there too. And I was going to meetings, and I wasn't drinking. I wasn't drinking a bit. And I talked to my sponsor, and everything was going good. And I haven't been in trouble. Alcohol hadn't got me in trouble. So I'm getting over that, being powerless over alcohol. I've been doing pretty good. So after about a year, I had to get my one of those 1-year tokens. This is in 83 or 82. 82, they wanted me to get a token for being sober for a year in 82. And so I went up front. I don't know if my sponsor gave it to me or not, but he said, here's your token. In Greenville, they used to take and they don't do it no more. Your sponsor would take and stamp your sobriety date right in the token. They'd take it to the jeweler, and they would like engrave it or stamp it, your sobriety date. And they gave me that token, and I went home that night, and all of a sudden I was feeling so guilty. They gave me a token for being stoned because I was smoking pot all that time, that year. It ate on me and ate on me, and I went back to my sponsor and I said, hey, I got to get honest. I've been smoking pot, for that year. I don't deserve this token for. You guys are really staying sober and clean. You guys are really doing it. You guys are really doing that. And I wasn't. I was just smoking dope that whole year. And of course, I didn't know what to do. And my sponsor said, just go up in front of the group and tell the group. And that's what I did. I got humble. I practiced a little bit of humility. Got in front of the group and said, hey, I don't deserve this. I'm just been smoking during that period of time, and they said, well, just take another 24-hour token. And that's what I did. And after that day in 83, I haven't found a need to take any kind of mood-altering things in my body except coffee. And that's even getting cut back now. I hardly drink coffee anymore, but I managed to quit smoking cigarettes because I got a bunch of COPD and a bunch of stuff from that. But then when I finally got honest and got sober and got a real sponsor, and well, he was a real sponsor, but I got another sponsor after he relapsed and eventually died drunk. My 1st of December, that was getting close to Christmas, New Year's Eve, and all that period of time, and I really didn't know what to do. My first Christmas and sober, and they had a little party in that town, a little holiday party with people in the program, and I went to that, and I really felt out of place, but I knew deep down inside that's where I needed to be. And of course they welcomed you, and you had punch and food, and I stayed down there for a few hours and then went home. But life has gotten pretty good for me. I stayed sober, and I found a sponsor in the factory I was working at. At that time, he had 5 years. And the same place I worked, there was a guy in AA. And his name was Perry. And I started to hang out with him. And we had the same work place. And we'd see each other, and we started hanging out together, and started going to meetings together, and back then I was in my late 20s. I was 28, 29, and we'd go to them ICIBA conventions, international conventions for young people in Alcoholics Anonymous, and we would go to those and together and enjoy some of the festivities at Boston and down around Nashville. We'd go to those, and then eventually, I got this itch that I wanted to ride a motorcycle again, because I kind of felt that maybe that was a bad part of me that I was trying to get rid of, that maybe that caused all my problems. I tried to look for all these material things that were causing my problems, and I'm thinking, well, I'll quit riding motorcycles and quit doing that, put the Harley in the closet, and that was another past, Went out and bought a brand new Honda, changed my image a little bit, and bought a brand new 1985 Honda Interstate. We're going to try a new way of life, motorcycling. And riding a Honda just wasn't my cup of tea back then. And but anyhow, I did ride it. It was brand new, and I did do some traveling on it. Me and probably 10 guys, we rode up to the 85th International Convention in Montreal. And all these guys were sober, and we rode up there, and Lois was up there, Lois Wilson. That's where she was still alive back then, and so we went up there, and that was pretty impressive. You get 20, 30,000 people at the big meeting saying the Lord's Prayer. It kind of sends chills down your back, And they do that flag ceremony, and that pretty much impressed me. So I got back, and these guys were still dicking around with their Harleys and oil leaking everywhere and all that. I thought, well, I'm going to sell my Honda. And that's what I did. I sold it, and got the old 79 shovel head out, and started dickering with it again, and started hanging out with these guys in Dayton. And eventually I joined them. And I rode with them for 20-some years, just long distance riding all over Florida, and we'd go to conventions up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, for an international convention up there, and we'd just ride in a group, and we had a lot of good times. And they were sober, and we enjoyed life and doing what we like to do, riding. Eventually, a few years ago, I retired from them, and I also retired from work. But one of my sober adventures, one guy, we knew a guy over in Australia, and one of my brothers said, "You want to go to Australia?" "Yeah, I'll go over there, check it out, free room and board." So I flew over there, and I thought that was a big opportunity because I'd never been out of the country before. Remember, I just hung in city parks and smoked dope and sat on bar stools. But I said, "Yeah, I'll go over there." So we flew over there, and was over there for a few weeks, and we had a truck to drive around, and that was a trip, driving on the left side of the road, and about hit kangaroos, and out there in the outback, and them emus or whatever, and because you get out in the outback, we went up to the Ayers Rock, and you get out there, and when you got to get gas, you got to get gas. You can't. There's no in between. But that was a big experience. And while I was over there, I went to an AA meeting, and I remember going to AA meeting. I think it started at 8:00, and we got up there about 10:08, and there wasn't a soul around. Me and Jim go, "Man, these meetings are about like the ones in the United States. They're ain't nobody there, and till the last minute, and then we get there 5 till, and here comes everybody. Everybody shows up at the last minute, but their meetings was that everybody in the room would give like a little mini lead. They go around and ask everybody, would you mind getting up and giving a little mini lead? And so they come over to us and asked us. We said, yeah, sure. And we get up there, and their meeting was an hour and a half, and I get up there, and Jim gets up there, and we give a little why we're there, how long we've been in AA, and tell them a little bit about us, and then after about 45 minutes, they take a smoke break. Everybody goes outside and smokes cigarettes, and for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, everybody goes outside and hangs out there and drinks coffee and smokes cigarettes. There's a smoke break. And we're sitting there talking to this old lady, probably 60, 70 years old. And she goes, I can't help but recognize that you guys are Yankees. And, well, yeah, we're from the States. Well, I can tell, but, I went up there one time. I went to them meetings up there in America, and I can't believe you damn Yankees up there can't remember how long you've been sober. And we go, well, what do you mean? Well, you get these tokens every year. I don't understand that. You just can't remember how long you've been in the program. Because they didn't give tokens out down there, We just kind of laughed, Well, yeah, you're right. We get tokens every year, but they don't do that, so. But, that was just one of my AA experiences. The couple of them there that I managed to come across in my years of being sober. And tonight we come up here, and Tom asked me to come up here and give a lead, but I also got a guest with me, a guy named George. And he just about got killed out there on the sidewalk coming up here. But he's like 88 years old. Been sober 32 years, 33 years. And he hooked up with, I guess, one of your old timers up here, Steve. And they're out. They couldn't come up the steps, so they went out, and they're out west out there chowing down. But I guess they haven't seen each other for years and years and years. So they're having a little reunion, AA reunion, I guess you'd call it. And, I had to come up here and give this lead, and I forgot one thing when I got up here. Usually what I like to do is I like to tell everybody my phone number. 937-459-8067. That's my cell phone. And I should have did this right at the beginning. But I wanted one of you to go down there and call me so I can get the hell out of here. But I forgot to do it. But anyhow, I'm Scooter. I'm a drug addict, alcoholic, and that's all I got.
Thanks, Scooter.